A warm welcome and thank you for keeping it right here on Sunrise at Sea. You are still watching and thank you for waking up with us right from 7 a.m. and you are just in time for our views where we have real life conversations and handle real life issues. My name is Shivana and joining me are the ladies. I have Sandra and then I have Sarah, and it's officially about a week till Valentine's. So I don't know who your boyfriend is, I don't know who your boo is, but you definitely do want to stick with us till the end of the show to get to understand how you can actually be our lucky winner this Valentine's week. Otherwise, this morning, ladies, we are discussing a conversation, something that has always popped up now and again. I mean, we're all human beings. We get angry at one point or the other. However, anger can actually become an issue if it's getting in the way of your work, if it's getting in the way of how you actually communicate with people, if it's making you throw around tantrums to the extent that you're even destroying things, then it becomes an issue. And that is what we're going to be talking about this morning. And we did post this on our Twitter platform, and that was at CTV Uganda, and it wanted to get to understand your views. How do you deal with an anger? Hashtag CTV Sunrise. Well, before we get into the conversation, I think that it's very important that we first of all define what anger is. So anger is an emotion characterized by antagonism towards someone or something you feel has deliberately done you wrong. Now, anger can be a good thing. It can give you a way to express negative feelings, for example, or motivate you to find solutions to problems, but excessive anger can cause you problems. So ladies, I would like to hear from you. Are there times that you feel anger has gotten in the way of either how you do work or how you communicate with people?
Yes, definitely. I think we all go through that time and time again. But like you said, anger impedes growth, it destroys relationships, any kind of relationship, if it's work related, if it's an intimate relationship, or just even acquaintances, I guess. But I feel that learning how to channel our anger and putting it into words and expressing how you feel, how somebody makes you feel, is a key factor in getting over it, because most of the times we just get angry and we don't express ourselves. But if we actually voice it and say, Shivan, when you do this, it makes me feel like this, then I think you can.
That does make sense. How about you, Sarah?
Yeah, definitely. People have a lot of reasons why they get angry, but I think it's also important to ask yourself why you're angry, why you're triggered. Because when people lash out in an angry manner or get violent with either their actions or their words or their gestures, it's because they have been triggered. And to know where that trigger comes from is very important. I always talk about, self-reflection. Why am I angry? Why has this pissed me off? Why am I pissed off? Sometimes it could be something very trivial, like somebody has stepped on your foot and then you just lash out, because sometimes there may be underlying issues and you don't, you are not aware of these underlying issues. But I think it's very important when people, especially people who are short-tempered, you need to understand why you're short-tempered, because usually it stems from probably childhood traumas, or it's just, you were not raised to be in charge of your emotions. Yeah.
So how does anger then become destructive? Because you mentioned the point, like, for example, you could be moving and someone steps on your toe and you're having a bad day and then you're lashing out at someone. Is it you, the person that has stepped on the other one, to blame, or it's then the tables turn around?
This is the thing. When somebody angers you, they're of course in the wrong for angering you. But also how you react sometimes, or if you have a short temper and you're the person who just busts out all the time, like Sandra said, it can be detrimental to your relationships. It could be working relationships, could be with family or friends, or with spouses or partners, whatever the case may be. It could be your ways of responding to somebody can turn out to be abusive, over time. And you may think that, no, I'm just short-tempered, but no, you're actually now being abusive to the other person. You're either now getting angry and physically hitting them, or you're getting angry and emotionally and psychologically abusing them. So yes, it can definitely be detrimental to our relationships, and even just to us, because if you have so much anger in yourself, then you're just going to become a nasty person who's not going to attract any positivity in your life. You're going to just repel everybody away from you, and nobody is going to want to have to deal with you. And it could also just, develop into more serious mental issues like depression and anxiety, and you're just or some people that have actually anger management issues could be schizophrenic or bipolar, and you don't know that you are.
Absolutely.
So it's very important to have it checked out, see a therapist, see a doctor, do some self-evaluation.
So before we get into actually how to understand that your anger is being detrimental and how to understand that your anger is now getting out of hand, it is very important that we understand that there are actually types of anger. So the first one is passive aggression. Now, many do not like to admit that they are angry because they do not like confrontation. This is called passive aggression. This comes out in things like becoming silent when you are angry, sulking, procrastinating, putting stuff off you need to do, and pretending everything is fine. Passive aggression comes from a need to be in control. The second type of anger is actually open aggression. Now, on the other hand, many people have a tendency to lash out in anger and rage, becoming physically or verbally aggressive, and can oftentimes hurt themselves or others, and this is called open aggression. This comes out in fighting, bullying, blackmailing, accusing, shouting, bickering, criticism. Open aggression comes from the need to be in control. You want a hand with dealing with open aggression. Well, the third is assertive anger. The healthy way to deal with anger is by being controlled and confident, talking and listening and open up to help in dealing with a situation. Now, this assertive anger can help relationships grow. It means thinking before you speak and being confident in how we say it, and yet open and flexible to the other side. It means being patient, not raising your voice, communicating how you're feeling emotionally, and really trying to understand what others are feeling. So ladies, back to the question, how can you actually tell that your anger is now becoming toxic? Because it's very natural, we all get angry. However, it gets to a point where it's now turning toxic. And I like one of the one of the definitions I was reading of anger, one of them did mention that the type people get angry and then they keep quiet and sulk. It seems that is actually a bad idea to be keeping quiet when you're angry. You're supposed to talk about it, tell the person that you have hurt me in this way.
Yeah, I guess if you're passive aggressive, it really, like, you bottle so much inside, and then just one little thing can happen, and somebody might think, Sarah is overreacting. It was just something very little, but it's because you've bottled so much inside that you just takes one little thing to push you over the edge. And I think that's very unhealthy, because then you deal with so much, and you can be depressed, and it takes a toll on how you deal with people, because you can tell an angry person, somebody is just always in a bad mood, trying to pick a fight, because they are frustrated and they have bottled so much inside. So I guess it's good to be assertive and to really voice what you're feeling. Then there you let it go, because when you're so angry, it takes a toll on you. It does take a toll on you.
Yes.
So I think open conversations are the way to go.
But sometimes people are not open to having conversations, because
when
many times,
angry?
not when they're angry, but the person who has angered the other person. I think let us not only just dwell on the person who is angry in this case, let's also talk about the person who has done something to offend, to trigger, and disrespect the person who has gotten angry. Because sometimes when the person some people lash out when they try a civil dialogue, and then the person, it fails. Then they're like, okay, violence, let's go. Okay? I'm here for it. Hey, I want problems, not peace. You know what? Let's go. So I think it's very important on both sides. It's not just calling out the person who has lashed out or gotten angry or who is now screaming and burning the place down. But let's also hold the person who offended them or triggered them accountable and say, perhaps your actions or perhaps the things that you said were not right. Because we don't get angry for no reason.
That's true.
It's an emotion. So you don't just open it. It just doesn't happen. It has to come from somewhere. And also the person who gets angry, like I said earlier, it's very important to understand. Actually, when you get angry, in the moment you may not feel it, but after the moment has passed, I would like for you to differentiate fact from feeling. What am I feeling? Or are my feelings towards what happened justified? Was it necessary for me to act in that way? What is the fact? Say this person has pissed me off, or this person has done something to offend me in such a type of way. Are you attacking their character, or are you addressing what they did? So for instance, the issue at hand. So for instance, Sandra, if you offended me, and then I said, that's why you're like this, that's why you're like that, that's why you're like that. Am I attacking your character, or am I addressing what you did?
What I've done.
And that is very important. You need to differentiate fact from feeling. I am angry because you did not send me that email on time.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Not I am angry, but you're lazy, you're not always on time, that's why you even look like that. No,
that is being personal.
That is where you are now letting your feelings get in the way of the actual situation at hand. So I understand when you're in the moment of anger, you're just seeing red. But the minute the red subsidizes, just ask yourself. And then also, it's very okay, and I actually advise this, that you go on and have civil dialogue with the person who you lashed out at, or who angered you, and say that, I got angry because of this, this, and this.
Okay.
I think also, I think that we should also look on the other side, go back to the person who is getting angry as well, because I feel sometimes people have misplaced anger.
True.
Because they're projecting the insecurities. Sometimes they feel inadequate in some areas, that when somebody probably mentions something and they didn't mean it in that context, it speaks to their insecurities, then they get angry. They have misplaced anger.
True.
So I think also before you rush towards getting angry, you should look at yourself and really know yourself and know your weaknesses, I might say, and also address those so that you don't move around getting angry at everyone because they're speaking to your insecurities. Like, you need to put your house in order. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But you know, the funny thing is that some people don't even know that they have insecurities.
That is what I was about to mention.
Or that they have inferiority complex, or even understand that they have traumas. Because a lot of people say, this is how I am. I'm short-tempered. Take me as I am. Deal with it. No, honey, we are not doing that. It's 2022. We left that in 21.
Okay, so Sarah, back to the question that I actually asked. How can you be able to tell that your anger is now becoming toxic?
You see, the thing about anger is that it weighs very heavy on you, to the point that you even have a lump in your throat.
A chimango.
Over
jackfruit.
a whole avocado seed in your throat. So this is how you know that it's starting to affect you, because when you have so much pent up anger and bitterness in you, you're going to start suffering from insomnia. You're going to start struggling to eat. You're probably going to either, one, lose a lot of weight because you're not eating enough, or you're going to just gain a lot of weight because you are just trying to stuff yourself to make yourself feel good. It's going to put you in a place where it can even have it can also be detrimental to your finances, because you know how some people go and shop to help them feel good about themselves.
Retail therapy.
Exactly. And that's the thing about anger. You're so bitter, you're so angry at everything, you even start to get wrinkles. That is how you know. But again, a lot of people are unaware of this, and they go on saying, this is how I am, I'm used, that is how I am. No. There's so much, holding you down, weighing you down emotionally and psychologically, when you just have an ugly picture of life in general, where you're just the negative person in the room, and nobody wants to be with you because you're so negative. You'll also start to lose friends because people don't want to be around you. Everybody is tiptoeing around you,
Walking on eggshells.
Walking on eggshells around you, choosing their words carefully. People are avoiding you. That is how you know. But then you won't know until you achieve the sense of maturity where you tell yourself, but I'm tired of feeling this way.
Okay, now let's handle the issue at hand. For someone that is watching the show this morning, and let's first look at being angry in the moment and then after that. If you got angry at a certain person, if you got angry in a situation, in that moment, what would you tell the person to do? Immediately have that conversation or have it later? So in the moment, an angry person, how do they deal with what they are facing? Then after the moment, how do they still deal with it?
I think you can only give advice to an angry person after the fact, not in that moment, because you're going to be the other victim in this situation. But I think if you are a bystander or the third party in this situation, I think all of us should learn how to be diplomatic and know how to diffuse a situation, especially if you know that somebody is short-tempered and you're the one who has wronged them. Know how to diffuse the situation in that moment. Words like, I'm sorry, I apologize.
But some people have apologized to a couple of people that I've hurt before, and they bluntly come out and tell you, sorry, it doesn't change the fact that you hurt me.
This is the thing. The best apology is changed behavior. Yes. So when you keep on apologizing and people are not taking your apology, perhaps you should also now internalize and say, but when I do apologize, do I change the situation? Because if you're apologizing about the same thing for the 9th time, you can't blame somebody for not wanting your apology anymore. They're like, you know what, we have been through this 9 times, I just cannot with you anymore. Just, stay away from me. So the best apology is changed behavior. And even if you do have anger issues, it is okay. You have to be aware of it and learn how to cope with your situations. For instance, I used to be very short-tempered. I'm working on it. It is a process. I still bust out, from time to time, but it's a process. But how I now handle my situation is I just walk away. I just walk out of the situation. Or when I'm angry in the moment, I'm like, you know what, I'm not going to talk about it now. Or even when someone demands an apology of me, I'm like, I'm not going to give you an apology now because that's not how I feel right now. So let's have this conversation in an hour or 2, or maybe tomorrow when I'm ready to have this conversation, we will have it. But when you have anger issues, it's very, very important to be aware of those, feelings. Go for anger management. Read online. Everything is online. You can get all this information online on how to manage and cope with it, and also find tactics and mechanics on how you can just diffuse the situation. When you know it is starting to get out of hand, when you know you're about to say some vile things, bite your tongue. Bite your tongue. Or sip your tea, because you can't talk with tea in your mouth or water in your mouth, or just walk away from the situation.
I like the fact that you highlighted, if you're angry in the moment, you could actually choose to walk away or even keep quiet. While very many people may find that rude, I think it is therapy for most people, especially the one who has been angered. We have had instances where people get angry and they have every right to be angry, but somehow you expect them to actually talk to you in that moment, or when they walk out of it, then you're saying, oh, she's rude, she's very, insubordinate, she's not paying attention. But it would be worse if the person stayed. So Sandra, getting back to in the moment and after the moment, how would someone deal with anger after having a very ugly situation and now they're calm? What would they do?
I think after the fact, you should track back and see if it's this person who really gets on your nerves. When you sit down after the moment, I think you should set clear boundaries with that person. Otherwise, you're going to go around this merry-go-round.
Clear boundaries, not focused on emotions. Clear-headed, right?
Yes. Clear boundaries.
If I'm angry at you.
And be like, if you do this, then I would have to remove myself from this situation, or I will not have to deal with you anymore, because this and this and this is a deal breaker for me. If you're going to be disrespectful, I will remove myself from this conversation.
Okay.
Just set very clear boundaries with this person. And if they do it, and people need to realize that setting boundaries is not you asking that person for permission.
I'm telling you.
I am telling you that if you do this, I'm going to do this. There is no negotiation. Yeah? So if you do that and you're very clear, and it happens the next time, just remove yourself from that situation. Even if they say this and this and that, you made it absolutely crystal clear. So you should set clear boundaries with this person, whoever is involved, so that next time they know what's up.
Okay. Well, the question would be, so it's not a bad thing to actually feel angry. And I was reading up on this article, and this is what it actually says. Being angry isn't always a bad thing. Being angry can help you share your concerns. It can prevent others from walking all over you. It can motivate you to do something positive. The key is managing your anger in a healthy way. And we're going to look at how best can we handle anger. Well, when you are angry, you can deal with your feelings through the following ways. Expression. The ladies have actually hit on that. It is very important that you express yourself either in the moment, if you feel that you can actually take a toll of your emotions. If you feel that at that particular point, if a circumstance has happened and you're going to lash out and probably throw a glass at someone, you might want to just take a step back. The next one could be suppression. Well, this is an attempt to hold in your anger and possibly convert it into more constructive behavior. You're angry. What do you like to do? Well, for very many people, when they're angry, they'll probably get their ATM and make very terrible mistakes. Do something constructive, not disconstructive. The next one is calming down. This is when you control your outward behavior and your internal responses by calming yourself and letting your feelings subside. Finally, ladies, as we wrap up this conversation, any last remarks in regard to anger management? You do not.
I have a lot to say on it, but I would just like to talk to people who just do the whole misplaced, anger. You're pissed off about something else, and then you bring that on to another person. I'd just like you to, for my tip for you is, take a moment, like ask for a moment, ask the people around you, say, I need a moment, I am starting to get really upset right now, excuse me. Excuse yourself from the situation whenever you find that your emotions are starting to make you boil. It is just take a moment, take a breather, take tea, because with taking tea comes patience, so you calm down, or take water, or take a walk around the situation. Always remove yourself from a situation when you feel that you are getting angry, because with crimes of passion, you can find yourself harming somebody or even taking a life because of that moment of anger. So learn to remove yourself from a situation if you feel that it is going to make you blow up.
Okay.
Yes.
How about you, Sandra?
I think people should set clear boundaries.
Yeah.
Set clear boundaries with people so that you don't feel like they are ruffling your feathers all the time. Set clear boundaries with people, and I guess from that you can take so much control of your emotions as well.
Okay.
Don't get ticked off by everybody. If somebody can control your emotions, they can control you, and you don't want to give anybody such power over you.
Okay. Well, it's also very important that you actually identify the anger, because for different people will react differently towards different situations. And I'll read this out loud. Anger doesn't look the same in everyone, as we all express it differently. It is important that you note that. For some people, screaming might be an outlet for their anger, while others might express it by physically hitting an object or even another person. Well, anger is normal human emotion, but it's important to find healthy ways to express it so as not to alienate people around us. Expressing anger healthy is also important for your mental health. And finally, when to know that you need actually professional help. Learning to control your anger is a challenge for everyone. At times, consider seeking help for anger issues if your anger seems out of control or causes you to do things you might regret, hurt those around you, or is taking a toll on your personal relationships. When you realize that, then it is time that you definitely seek professional help. Otherwise, that winds up the conversation that we had for you this morning on Our View. Stay tuned, because Sandra Cope has yet another exciting, juicy conversation coming right after this break. Good morning. And